We're gonna have a Kickturn party tonight. All right.
Let me, you guys have got that killer ass park down in Texas, down in Houston.
I rode that a few years ago.
I just recently.
Oh, the North Park, yeah. And
yeah, I rode. Yeah, I rode the downtown one first, and then it was fun and janky.
I'm going down in September.
But the big one,
the Jamal Park, yeah.
The big one though was I was skating alone. Park was dead. I had my daughter with me, and we were on our way to Oklahoma. So I stopped in there, and I had about 2 hours to ride everything in that park.
Is that the Houston Park?
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah.
And in 2 hours of taking like a couple of runs in every part of that park, you're beat, man. That's all you can do. And I spent most of my time in the big flow part with the pipe. That's where I ended up camping out most of the time, just because you could ride way up on those big walls.
The embassy team, how did you guys put that together? You guys have got some ripping guys on the embassy team.
They were so cool.
Yeah,
we loved hanging out.
At Kona.
And you got Nathan Midget, and you got Colin Graham. I don't know how you scored both of those guys.
Those guys rip,
but they're two of my favorite young skaters, man.
Yeah, have you seen the videos recently of Colin?
Colin's he's finally sliding into that
Montreal
perfect. Yeah,
he's like powerful.
Huge, yes. He goes big.
One pump, man, he's flying.
And of course, Nathan, he kept trying and finally did a Christ there for Christian.
Yeah,
it
was pretty cool.
Cool. We jammed together and stuff. When they stayed in Houston for a while, and Nathan's rad. He's got that style he gets from his dad.
Yes.
Alan was so rad back in the days and shit. And so, how we scored on them? Well, it's kind of a natural fit for the midgets, kind of.
Sure.
We're all friends. Nathan come aboard, and Colin, we found him early on before I think Nathan lead. We know he was the one going out. He's going on to those.
Well, you scored Henry, king of the Fort Crew. So once you got Henry, man, you've automatically got Colin and Nathan.
Yeah, exactly. That's what the Henry's just like, hey, check these guys out. Check these guys out. And we listen to him. He knows what's up. Yeah.
All the Virginia Beach guys are really great. But so how did you and Lee get together and kind of get Embassy going? Because Embassy's actually becoming there's always little underground companies, and Embassy's kind of like the new Zorlak to some extent, because they're a little bit you guys are a little bit underground, but you guys have some quality products.
And you guys got some cool team members too.
Got some good skaters. So how did that all come about?
Well, first of all, Lee and I have been friends for a long, long time. Go back to Zorlak days, the beginning of Zorlak days.
Okay.
He was around. He was always hanging around, and when we started the band Bark Hard during like in the early 80s, about 83, started a band. He started a band with Ken Fillion and Troy Chasen. And, it was me and Todd and Scott and Joe and Bark Hard. Then we had a house in the neighborhood. Lee and them got a house in the same neighborhood. And then it was Contortion Session was his band. And then we had Bark Hard, and we played together all the time. And ever since then, we always hung out, And then when skating died, 92 or whatever, around that time, all of our lives kind of splintered, went off, got married, had babies and stuff. And then around 2008, 2007, we started hanging out a lot more. And we just got to talking, Lee was doing really good in his business. He's like, man, let's do it. First, we're going to open a retail store. We call it the Texas Embassy. We're like, there's no money in retail. There's no money really in skateboarding, but we want to keep the dream alive and start making boards.
Yeah.
They're easy to get made now, they're easier now than they were back then. Yeah. And so we got some made. We got this great brand. Our buddy Jester made the brand for us. We're like, yeah, we'll run with it.
The brand
he just took off with it, man. He's like, it's like his baby.
Yeah, that's totally beautiful to me, because I'm an artist, and of course I've got to have a job to pay my bills. My art never pays the bills, but that passion and that dream to keep it and keep it going. I mean, without a vision, you perish. And you got to keep that vision alive. And so, yeah, kudos to you for keeping it going.
So speaking of keeping it going, are you still playing in a band today?
I'm kind of jamming around with some guys, man. Just, trying to keep my licks up, but
Yep.
I don't know. It's just so busy. Life just interrupts and everything, So, but yeah, I'm still jam.
So
I jammed for a while. The band I'm most proud of, I guess, is Sugar Shack. We get together every 5 years and do a couple shows.
Right on.
Yeah.
It's like rock and roll, primitive rock and roll, pretty much.
Right.
All right. So JD, our historian and moonshiner, he hasn't said a word. You got any questions? You got any thoughts, JD?
Is he?
My internet connection is awful, man. It's like chopping.
That's because
It's
you're
God,
in
it's-
moonshine
It's
country.
because you're in moonshine country, brother.
I got one. It's Texas' favorite trick ever in the 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s.
Front side
Favorite-
grind. You missed out. We already heard that.
I never heard shit.
First, the best trick out of all the decades, man, put together. I don't know, front side air.
Oh yeah, your style for front side air.
Fine.
Okay. So I've got a question related to tricks. When my son was like 9 years old, and I hate kick flips, but he was on the front porch trying to learn a kick flip, and he couldn't. He started crying. He literally
I'm
started
sure
crying.
Cal's loving you telling this.
I don't
story.
give a crap. And he was like, I'll never learn to do a kick flip. And I was just like, yes, you will.
Well, with an attitude
Just
like that,
shut
you will.
up. Just keep trying and you'll get it. And of course he does them, it's nothing now. So what was one trick that you thought I'm never going to get? And then you got it. And then it was like butter.
That was probably the ollie air, but we learned them on vert. When Alan, that picture of Alan Gelfand doing one in the magazine.
Yep.
Right when the magazine came to the skate park, I went outside and started trying to do them, and I couldn't really get it. And I went inside. I was in the pro shop. I was standing on my board and having my hands on the counter and just popping it right there on the street, get my foot to bend, the front foot, and then I took back out to the vert, and I fucking made it like the third try.
Gosh, that almost makes me cry.
I know, man.
It's so awesome.
I know, and that's how I got, when Stropo saw me doing ollie airs, I think I was in Oklahoma skating. He's like, dude, you're going to California now, right now. Let's go.
I am
like, all right.
And that kind of reminds me of something I saw you say on an interview that all you ever wanted was a who's hot.
Yes, I know, and I was all up for one, man. They changed. I missed it every step of the way, man. Every time we skating peak, I mean, like in the 70s, I expected to be up there with, Shogo Kubo and everybody doing the Hester Series contest.
Right.
That happened, and I was going to get a who's happened, and then right when I was getting my pro board out, that didn't happen. I had to it all went underground, and so I never really took anything really that serious after that. But then the 80s, when you got up in the mid 80s, it exploded.
Skateboarding happened
And
again.
you got to travel the world.
It
You got on the cover of Thrasher.
And I'm like, oh, I'm getting too old for it, separating my synthesis and breaking stuff. So Chris Stropel, Tony Giton, Dennis Martinez, they were all on this tour, right?
Yeah.
They probably came through Houston. They probably went on to Florida.
They came through Nashville, actually.
Through Oklahoma, and I was up there. That's when Stropel goes. I had learned all years then, and they were all on that. Shogo was there, and all of them. They had that tour going. I bet it was the same one, man.
Yeah, they came through Nashville. I skated with Steve Cathy and Martinez and Giton and Frank Blood.
Yes,
that's on that tour.
That's the same tour that they picked that I got sponsored on.
Ah, nice. Yeah.
God.
Kind of a DNS tour, at the time. That was the first time I'd ever seen pros, and it was like, wow, was. And then we went to a few years later, we went down to Kona and saw everybody at the Nationals on that crazy fiberglass half pipe.
Yeah,
and that was very impressive. What do you think about the skateboarding being the Olympics?
Well, they talked about that for many years. I stayed amateur or I for caster an extra year because there was talk of going to the Olympics.
Right.
That's when you couldn't be pro.
Yeah, yeah.
Amateur to go into the Olympics, but everything's changed. And now it's finally in there. You know, that's great. I mean, I think it's cool. Gives the kids, I guess, something to do, you know, besides whatever. But I think it'll be all right in the Olympics, especially now what Tony's doing. Tony Hawk doing his vert alert. He has such influence. He has such yeah, he has that influence on the Olympics, you know,
Right.
all commercials and everything.
Well, I mean,
If vertical skating.
Yeah.
right now today is the most mainstream that skateboarding's ever been, and it's actually accepted now, and that freaks me out because it never was.
I know, it's crazy now. I mean, I'm like on some new level now after the Hall of Fame stuff. You know, I haven't really skated in a fucking long ass time, but you know, all companies in there and social media, it's like a whole different, I don't know. It's fucking, it's crazy.
You know, we
It's
we
way
used to
different.
I remember in the 80s in coming up and being like, man, why can't people just accept the fact that I wear Vans and I've got a skateboard t-shirt on? That's what I do. And now now everybody does it, and the culture's been co-opted at some level. And now I just want it to go back to where it was in the 80s.
I get embarrassed when people.
Yeah.
I like your Vans.
I just want it to go back to where it was, where everybody hated on you and it was underground and all that shit.
Now you're just like every other teenage girl
Yeah.
wearing Vans.
Yeah, except I've got 4 daughters that are teenagers or in their 20s, right? And they look cooler in their Vans than I do. And they're like, my dad wears Vans. You know, like,
Yeah.
well, cool. Thanks, John.
Man,
I mean,
you
you
cannot
are.
thank you enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, heck yeah.
For me, man, growing up, you were one of my heroes,
Yeah,
and I just
same
got to
here.
sit here and hang out with you
Oh,
for
yeah.
2 hours.
Sitting in a trailer in Elizabethton, Tennessee, looking at Thrasher, looking at pictures of you skating. I mean,
Dude, I wanted to be on Zorlac so bad. You and Craig and Todd, you guys were totally my heroes growing up.
Heck yeah.
Heidi's heroes, man. You know that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks a lot for hanging out with us.
Yeah.
And John, it's
Hey,
good to see you again and link up after all these years. You know, we've met a couple of times, and I look forward to seeing you again sometime at one of these contests.
Yeah,
or
one of these
big
stupid events, man.
one of these big events. I definitely want to link up with you and Craig.
Kona
again.
50, be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kona 50.
All right.
all right. Kickturn
All right.
party.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Thanks,
everybody.
man.
We're out. Thanks, John.
Thanks,
John.
John.
Bye.
Thanks, Tex.
Everybody's gonna hang out here tonight. All right. We'll pass out in the flat. All right. Tonight. We got nothing better to do than to take 6 runs, drink a dozen brews. Don't talk about anything else. We don't wanna know. We're dedicated to beers, smoke, and road. Backside slasher, website grind, Kickturn, garbage.